Welcome to the Everyday Matters podcast, a show from Netsmart. Everyday Matters is about the opportunity we have to make a difference. Our collective, cause-connected mission is about impacting healthcare in meaningful ways. We seek to provide a place to share stories about the progress being made, how to overcome challenges, and ideas to inspire. Each conversation is about the work being done and the opportunity before us. Whether it's about advocacy, awareness, or challenging stigmas, we know that together anything and everything is possible. Let's get into the show where we learn from yesterday in pursuit of tomorrow. Here, we all work to ensure every day matters.
Welcome to today's podcast. My name is Tom Herzog. I'm the Chief Operating Officer of Netsmart, and I'll be your host today. And I'm really excited about our topic today. I think it will speak to many of us and is very unique, but most of all, is a very powerful story. And I use that word powerful with intent because I think we have an opportunity to press into a topic that is more about bringing us together than the differences we often find ourselves reading or talking about in the news today. But before I go there, let me talk a little bit about who's with us today. Burrell Behavioral Health is a community mental health center serving 18 counties in the state of Missouri and over 400 clinicians offering a full continuum of care. Burrell is taking an out-of-the-box approach of changing, or I might say challenging, the narrative of mental health awareness by leveraging its nonprofit foundation and modern media tools to reframe the discussion. Some may call it digital communication. I'm going to tell you what we're about to talk about, and what I hope you connect with is more art of people. The approach challenges conventional thinking and helps us to move the communities we all serve forward by helping us think in a new way and the narrative of those impacted by mental health. Joining us from Burrell today is Gabe Martin, Executive Director of Burrell Foundation at Burrell Behavioral Health. Gabe and her organization have launched this important campaign, and we're gonna have her introduce herself here in just a second and talk through that. Also joining me is their amazing ally, Randy Bacon. How do I describe Randy? He's an artist. Probably carries other titles, but when you get connected with his work, has a gift of storytelling, is an industry leader in that form of communication, and a founder of a nonprofit organization called 7 Billion Ones, whose purpose is to document and share the stories to connect and empower other people. Today, specifically, we're going to talk about the work that they've done, that they've collaborated to launch, called The Art of Being Me. This team has orchestrated the creation of this campaign to connect everyday life to the challenges and the opportunities that we all collectively have. And I say we by looking within first. Let me share with you just a little bit of my experience. As I began connecting with this work, it began with a phone call from an associate who had the opportunity to see this art firsthand, the pictures and the stories and the people. And I got a call that evening. It was late. And I'm sorry that I have to call you, but I've got to tell you what I'm seeing right now. And it was that excitement and enthusiasm of finding a different way to share and tell the story. And this was in a room of posters, of pictures, of art, of people, and the story behind those people. And as I was sharing with Randy before the call, this group has found a way to take something very simple and yet express the complexity that we find ourselves as human beings. And connecting it in such a way, you find ourselves more alike than not. As a matter of fact, when I was watching the film, I wrote down the words trust, love, understanding, grace, people, acceptance, grateful, joy, serenity, courage, these words. And then I went back and I said, I'm missing what the whole point was. Then I went back and next to those words, I wrote the people's names, Carol, Aaron, Shelby, Joe, Mindy, Lee, Michelle, Cody, Will, because that is what the story's about. It's not about the words. It's not about how they found the definition. It's about who they are and how they connected with those words to challenge and reframe how we think. As a matter of fact, in the beginning of the film, it begins with this quote: how we define and frame the world around us creates our so-called reality. And I think that's what we need now more than ever, is to continue to challenge the inputs, our own bias, if you will, challenge our own experience, and put ourselves in the shoes of others to understand the who, what, why, who they are. There's a quote that I believe it was Lee who said, vulnerability is to look at another person, to be empathetic, and just care. That quote spoke to me because if the answers that we're looking for to change this world, to move us forward better, is in that ability to just care with no strings attached, no conditions, is just to hear and listen to other people. Randy, Gabe, that's what your work has done for me. And that's why I was so excited to be able to talk to you today. And before we get into some questions, I wanted to share with you what it meant to me. I was excited, and I too began making phone calls and sharing with other people, just as my colleague did with me, of, hey, you've got to watch this. It's powerful. I don't want to describe anything else. Take a deep breath, turn all your ringers off, and just listen to the stories, look into the eyes, and see the heart and spirit of these people. Gabe, why did you take on this initiative? It's different than most mental health programs that you see out there. It truly is art, and would love to hear the work behind it.
Yes, thank you. And first, let me start. You've just got me feeling all the feels right now. That was a beautiful, I guess, hearing from your perspective of experiencing it. And we get to see a lot of that when we go to when we're at the gallery or at events, but hearing someone who has digested it as you have, and you put it so beautifully. And like you said, no one is looking at mental health like this, and no one is talking about it and stripping down all of the barriers. And that's why we did it. We knew that, with the foundation, our whole purpose is creating compassionate communities, people being compassionate towards others, because we all have a story. We all have a lived experience. We all have a brain, so we all have mental health. But for some reason, over the years, we've attached shame and terrible stigma to it. And so what is the best way to break all of that down? It is through story share, because we all have commonalities, and we have to put forth that message that we are not alone. We're all experiencing something, and we need to be in it together and be kind. So that was the precipice behind everything. And Randy has been a dear friend in the professional and personal world for me, and his work is like no other in this area. We support the Midwest primarily as far as mental health and substance use recovery. And Randy's work has been prevalent in this area. So it was a no-brainer for us to partner and ally, as you said, which I love, with Randy to tell those stories. So we very simply reached out within our organization of providers and our different departments. And we said, hey, we want to tell the stories, but we need a huge scope. We want to cover the entire breadth so that anyone that comes in this exhibit is going to see something will resonate that they can relate to, which is why we have children included. So we are telling stories all the way from our 9-year-olds up to our mid 70-year-olds, and then everything in between, including all diagnosis, all ethnicities, all walks of life. And so we received some of them are clients, past, current. Some of them are providers. Some of them are actual clinicians that are out there in the field. And others are just individuals in the community that we knew had stories to tell, that we said, are you willing to be vulnerable and brave enough to share? And the response was overwhelming. So here we are.
Well, I think it's pretty amazing. And before I get to Randy, let me just ask you one more question, and that is, how has your organization been impacted by this work? And I mean by the complete community center, if you will, your colleagues and caregivers and those on staff, as they've seen this?
Sure. It has been really remarkable to watch our teams experience the art of being me. I think it has, we get so wrapped up in it as the provider side or as the community mental health side that we forget that we're these people too. We all have gone through a pandemic. We all have gone through depression, anxiety, whatever it may be. It doesn't have to be on the illness side of the spectrum necessarily. We all are dealing with something. And it was really touching when we had the exhibit here in our admin campus to watch the staff cycle through it and to hear their responses and what that did for them too. And also from the providers that shared the clients who shared their stories. Like we were able to invite them to come. So your clients and their providers are here looking at what we created with these stories. And that was really touching and really moving and emotionally gripping. And it just kind of came full circle at that event. So, yes.
Yeah, I wrote this down. We are these people too. I like how you said that. And I think sometimes we forget those that we're looking at are probably more of a mirror than the differences sometimes we see, and that there's more connection and commonality than we understand. And I think I can only imagine when you first rolled that out, it must have been exciting. And also, I think a lot of searching within, probably quiet as people are going through and taking in. And Randy, I mean, as I'm looking at this art, and I use art with intent. I don't want to call it digital media or marketing, or it's none of that. It's so much more than that. The simplicity of capturing the faces and being able to catch the look in that I was hearing what was not said as much as what was being said, and putting myself in the person as they were experiencing some of the things that they were sharing, both the challenges, but also the hopes and dreams. As they were sharing some of those stories. Where did this come from? And what does this campaign mean to you, Randy?
Well, first of all, I'm so happy to hear you see it as art because, when I first got my camera, goodness gracious sakes, 35 years ago, it instantly became art to me. And I've set out on that path of seeing photography as art. Now, what I didn't expect along the way is that I deeply fell in love with people, the uniqueness of people, and I fell in love with this thing called humanity. And realizing that photography has a power that went way beyond anything I ever dreamed or imagined when I first started taking pictures. And so that combination with seeing the beauty and the special qualities of people, but yet there's this complexity in life, and we're all dealing with something. It led me down the path of like, hey, I have to use this to reach people in fresh ways, like potentially like nobody else ever has. That's my goal anyway. And Art of Being Me is exactly right in line with my heart and my passion, my compassion. And it's talking about that topic that really touches everybody. There's nobody exempt from mental health. I personally have had issues that I've had to really work through in my life. But if it's not you personally, it's somebody you know. So with Burl and the great hearts that compose that organization, we wanted to create this voice to a group of people that rarely ever get a voice. And with that voice, try to shake things up, do it in a fresh way. Really, as I like to say, punch them in the heart, and do it in such a way that when they go home for the day, or they leave the exhibit, or they close the laptop cover after seeing the work, they can't let it go. It really has planted a seed that's going to grow and help people and reach way beyond anything that maybe they anticipated.
I'm here today talking with Randy and Gabe as we discuss this amazing work of art that they've put together for storytelling, but more than storytelling, about connecting us to the hopes, the possibilities, and the potential for us to be part of the solution. I love what Randy just said about humanity and falling in love with humanity. I feel like that's what we all need. That's where we've got to get back to, is just like this, the art of being me, is seeing people and seeing people, not seeing statistics, not seeing differences, not seeing data, but behind every person is a story who has a desire and a pursuit of hopes and dreams that find us very much alike. Matter of fact, I like the tagline, The Art of Being Me, the portraits, the film, the stories, and maybe the most important, the movement. And the movement is about creating change. Gabe, what do you hope to get out of this? If you were to look forward and you've put together what is a lot of work and I think a gift, when someone offers us a story, they're not just telling us about their history, they're offering us a gift that comes with trust and vulnerability. What do you hope that happens with this work?
We hope that this is a perpetual movement, that it doesn't ever, as Randy would say, live in a closet. These stories, we started with 22 story heroes. We call them story heroes because that's what they are. They're inspiring hope and they're providing healing for everyone that reads and experiences their story. And we just feel that if we can continue this, and as we move from city to city, add story heroes, maybe it's inspiring someone to say, I've not been brave enough, but I know if I share mine, it might help one person. And if we've helped one, we've done our job. And so that's our goal with this particular movement, is to make it a movement. We are already on the road. We are in Columbia currently, and then we have plans to go to Kansas City, and we want to continue inspiring communities. And it doesn't have to be in Burrell's catchment area, because it is not about Burrell. This is about, like Randy also said, humanity. This is about reaching human beings and saying, let's keep talking about it. These conversations should have been had a long time ago. We were in a mental health crisis before a pandemic, and it just took that to bubble it to the surface. And now it's time that we all join arms and say, okay, we're in this together. You're not alone. And if I can help you through sharing something, then I'm going to do it. So.
Well said. And I couldn't agree more. We always talk about putting a face to the challenge or the opportunities. That's what you've done. You've brought a reality to that context. Randy, going through this work, you shared your connection with it, but I'm curious. I know artists give of themselves a lot and feel deeply. What did you learn through the process as you're hearing all these stories, and how did you process? That's a lot to take in.
Wow, it's an interesting question, Tom. And actually, I get asked that quite a bit on how I deal with it. First of all, always feel so humbled and honored that people share with me as they share with me, from just revealing their true self. And so I go into each shoot with that attitude. And with that being maybe the foundation of it, it creates a bond. And we get very close through the process of doing the photography, the video work, getting their story. It's a very personal process that I never, ever forget. And through that, I totally give of myself. And when a photo shoot is completed, I literally am totally spent and energetic all at the same time. And I have to step back from it, kind of soak it up, reflect, rest before I ever step back in and do another one. The entire process, as I mentioned previous, I've been doing this a long time, but I have to tell you, it keeps me young. And if God willing, I live into my 80s or beyond, I still want to keep doing this as long as I'm here. I believe in it that much.
Well, it comes through. Seeing the work firsthand, it speaks volumes regardless of what words are spoken. And I think you've offered a gift and partnered with an amazing organization to take a topic that can be often challenging and difficult for people to press into. And in my way, that's what I mean by the simplicity, have made it more comfortable for people to press in while having to get uncomfortable in those conversations. And Randy, I guess to that person who's out there who says, I'm not interested, or that's not something I want to look at, or I do, and they may be intrigued now, how would you encourage them to give this project, this work, this art, a room for their contemplation?
Well, I think we're all seeing this as individuals that walk this planet, and that is things are getting faster and faster. Our attention spans are getting shorter and shorter. So much of what we're presented is many times, like with the news media and such, it's negative. And you put all these things together, and it's very easy to be a little bit pessimistic and a feeling of hopelessness. And at the end of the day, with all of this going on, I have really figured out that people crave authenticity, that they want real. They don't want the plastic that we see on social media so much of the time. They want real, they want authenticity, they want raw. So if somebody hasn't really seen Art of Being Me, I know at the foundation of it all, that's driving our motivations. We all crave that. That is the power of it. So when people come, it's as you've mentioned, it's very simple. It's just very close up portraits, and the videos are really shot very similar. But then you get all of those qualities, the authenticity, the vulnerability, the raw nature of each person on how they revealed. That then connects with the viewers.
Gabe, I got a couple questions for you on this. Is where did Randy just expressed the simplicity, the art, the portrait, and I'm going to press into the name, The Art of Being Me. Where did that name come from, and how does it frame what your vision and passion is about this?
Sure. So it's kind of a fun backstory. When we conceptualized all of this, the name we really wanted for the exhibit was This Is Me, because we felt that This Is Me like it really spoke directly to the person, to whoever was digesting this work. And so that was it was done. That was it. We were moving forward. We were calling it the This Is Me movement. And then our on the legal side had done a little bit of digging and found that there's actually a mental health campaign in the UK called This Is Me. And so they put a big kibosh on that for us. And so our dream team went back to the drawing boards and said, okay, what part of This Is Me really spoke to all of us? And the me obviously kept jumping out. So we said, let's focus on me. And then just kind of, I don't know, collectively came up with, it's like Randy said, this is his work is truly art. It is not just snapping a picture. And if you experience a studio session with Randy, you'll understand that. And so it was okay. We all are pieces of art in our own right. So this is what it's going to be, The Art of Being Me.
Well, and I think, it's genius. And I think sometimes our best made efforts are the ones that don't happen, and they're ones that happen because we had to pivot or adapt and go a different way, very much like our own life stories.
Sure.
And the art, in my mind, allows a certain freedom and autonomy to feel like you're not putting me into a box. This is who I am. And it's okay to be who you are and press into that conversation. And that's one of the things that really attracted me. I said, that is a great way to describe who we are and who we're not, and yet we're very much alike in that pursuit. So I thought it was done, even though you found your way, you navigated to that, it's genius in how the name came up. So I guess there's organizations. Let's talk about other employers that have nothing to do with maybe healthcare directly, just a company down the street, if you will, and trying to have this topic, have this conversation within the workplace. They know that it's a challenge. They know that they have to do better at engaging with their teams on this. How might this exhibit be something that they should consider as an entity to maybe come as a team, as a leadership team, or encourage associates to? How would you encourage them, and what would they walk away from, or what would you hope they'd walk away from?
Sure. And I'm so glad you said that too, Tom, because when we had this at Randy's studio, we opened it up for groups to come out and experience, because it is a vulnerable, it is a vulnerable experience. It is something that evokes tears often. We're cognizant of that. And we're also cognizant that you can't soak in every story and every video at the same time. We had several that would come, see it, go, and come back because it's just so much.
Wow.
But there is something special about experiencing it with your teams in the professional setting. And we do allow that when we go to, like, we're going to be in Stevens College here in September, and it will be made very public to the community, but also to student groups and to local civic leaders and their organizations to come out. I love, about 2 weeks ago, we had the Lieutenant Governor of Missouri and a slew of about 30 legislators, state representatives, the mayor, commissioners, all came for a private viewing at Randy's gallery. And it was so incredibly powerful, Tom. I can't put it into words. I'm not going to try. We actually asked for a moment of 5 minutes of silence. So, often in those situations, people want to hobnob and they want to talk. And we said, we want to respect these stories, these humans, and we want you to truly engage. And so we said, no talking for 5 minutes, go around and take it in. And it was so powerful that we were asked to bring the exhibit to the Capitol, and it will be there for Mental Health Month in 2023 in the Rotunda. So,
wow.
Yeah. So
that, just think about, this could be another whole podcast. Just giving someone 5 minutes to pause and not do anything. As Randy talked about earlier, we have so much noise and so much input. That may have been the only 5 minutes many of those individuals had in weeks. So I think it becomes very, very, very powerful in the opportunity to be able to connect with the message behind the story. Is sometimes we have to disconnect to connect, and I think that's what this work does. Randy, what's next?
Oh my. Well, I keep doing what I do, which is loving people and trying to capture the uniqueness of each of us. And as Gabe kind of touched upon, we're going to keep adding to Art of Being Me. And hopefully this thing just keeps going and going. I have to tell you, I am so excited about Art of Being Me and Gabe and her incredible team at Burl, because literally they are taking this movement, they're taking this exhibition all over the country, and they're not even talking about slowing down or stopping. But when it comes down to it, I never get tired of doing a photo shoot, meeting somebody for the first time, realizing I've never photographed anybody like that before, many times revealing such personal, vulnerable things about themselves. And they're like, I want to share this with the world.
Yeah.
And I like to ask, it's like, why did you say yes? Why did you say yes to being part of Art of Being Me? Because you're revealing such intimate details about your life. Why? And I find this pretty much with every single photo shoot I do, where they're revealing like this. And that is, if I can help one person, it is worth it.
Yeah.
That never gets old. That propels me. And I know you asked Gabe, as far as other organizations and bringing groups to see this thing, why would you? Well, why would you is because at the heart of the whole thing is you have this group of heroes, story heroes. They have this motivation. It's like, my story, the intent of it is to help and to help one person. So each of the stories has such a beauty to it. And they have all of these nuggets of hope and wisdom and light and love that can literally help any person, whether they're walking down that exact path that story reveals or not.
I think it's very powerful, and I think it's absolutely helping more than one person. There's no question about that. Gabe, what will land here? What else should people know about the Burl Foundation, and what would you like to leave them with in regards to this project and maybe a call to action and how we can be the difference in helping the greater good?
Sure. Well, we have socials, so please follow our journey on all of our socials, which Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and Twitter. And that's Burrell Foundation. You can also find links to the exhibit through burrellfoundation.org and Randy Bacon's site. And we are, Art of Being Me is one conduit for us from Burrell to the community. It is one effort for us to continue to break down this stigma and to increase mental health awareness and discussions. We have so many other things that we are working on and so many other initiatives. This has just been kind of that push for us to get out there and to literally get in the face of our communities. So our needs are great. If there are individuals and corporations that are looking for philanthropic partners, we will take you. And there are options to give and all of that on our website and information for that. So please feel free to reach out in that regard. I did want to share one story that I think you'll enjoy, Tom. When we had our launch here, where we opened it, it was a private unveiling to the community in Springfield. We invited all 22 of the story heroes to be present at the event with 300 other community influencers. And that included the kiddos. And I'll never forget, we had viewing rooms set up all down the hallway where you could go in and experience 2 heroes at a time, their short films. And I'm not sure if you experienced Eli or not when you were looking through things, but Eli was our 13-year-old, I believe, young gentleman living with anxiety and some other experiences. And he happened to be walking into his viewing room as that whole group of people were watching his video. And when they all looked up and saw that it was him, they applauded, they hugged him, they high-fived him. And what that did for that boy and his family was enough for me to say, okay, work done. I mean, he was able to see that, wait a second, I was terrified to do this. And it's done this, it's inspired this hope, it's healed these, you know what I mean? And it was just like full circle moment. Super, super cool. So I love sharing that story.
I love it. I think that's a perfect way to land this session. We'll probably want to do another one as we check in on the work and the things that are going out there. And we'll include all the links in the show notes and make sure that they get access to the videos, Randy's webpage and Burrell's Foundation's page, and everything that they can find out about that. And Gabe and Randy, that story, I think, encompasses what this work all is about. Others helping others. And when we're willing to offer our story to someone else, we don't always understand immediately what it can do. It's a gift and how it can impact them going forward. One of my favorite moments in the clip, it may have been Michelle or Lee, I can't remember. They began describing love and they said, love means, and they said, no, love is. It's a verb. It's action. And my 2 guests today are demonstrating what love is, not by what it means, but through the action and their willingness to offer their own gifts and talents, their teams, bringing other people. And that's what the Art of Me is all about. I hope you enjoyed our podcast today. I hope you'll consider pressing into the work. I hope you'll consider the next person who you come across. Maybe it's just at a convenience store. Maybe it's at a dinner. And as they begin to share this story, that we pause, we listen, take in, experience the differences and how they are more likenesses. Because every day we have the opportunity to be the difference, to make every day matter. And the world, the community, the homes that we're all looking for are within our power by willing to press in and do the work necessary. And most important, and I'm going to have to borrow this, is the willingness, the courage to be the art of just being me. Thank you both for joining us today and for the conversation, and looking forward to hearing more about it, and we'll keep everyone updated.
You've been listening to Everyday Matters, a Netsmart podcast. Keep connected with us by subscribing to the show in your favorite podcast player. If you like what you've heard, please rate the show. That helps us keep sharing the stories that inspire our communities. Thanks for listening. Until next time.